Last but not least, I want to talk about the piano piece Novelette in C major by Francis Poulenc. Poulenc lived from 1899 to 1964 and is therefore a contemporary composer. What is most noticeable about the 20th century is that there is no common style in music, in contrast to, for example, Baroque. Many composers tried different approaches to express themselves, like Schönberg, Messiaen and Bartók. Poulenc joined a French group called Les Six, which also included Erik Satie. These people refused Impressionism in favor of simplicity, which does not mean that it is less artistically. Let's listen to it first. I think it's audible that the piece consists out of 3 separate parts which need to be looked at separately. The first one, which lasts until the C minor part, is separated again into 2 parts. The first one ends in G major, and the second one returns to the tonic C major, which is quite usual, especially in well-known shapes such as preludes. When Brahms was asked what he was thinking when composing music, he said, "I always ask myself, from where, whereabouts, and how?" Bearing that statement in mind and looking again at the paper, we realize that the beginning is quite good. We have a simple melody and simple harmonies, which make it sound innocent, supported by the high octave in which it is played. This excerpt can obviously be reduced to The interesting part is that it sounds like melody and harmony, but it is notated as different voices. The 16ths are notated as a different voice. That's the first time we do not have a defined separation between melody and harmony. However, we perceive the top voice as the melody. The ending of the whole first segment sounds like this. We have a beginning sounding like a solo voice with a simple melody using traditional chords and a simple cadence in C major. However, the ending sounds like full orchestra using a complex cadence and many different types of chords. The question now should be, how did we get there? And the answer is step by step. The first 3 bars present a melody harmonized in a traditional way. However, the 16th, which we guess to be the accompaniment, reveals soon a beautiful counter melody, sounding like this. Therefore, we hear after only 3 bars 2 melodic lines and an accompaniment which is a separate voice, but still we have traditional harmonies. The next step is the dominant, reached by the simple harmonization, While accelerating the harmonies, the audible music slows down because the 16ths are going to stop during the cadence, and something else is new to this part of the piece. It's the way of harmonization. Apparently influenced by jazz music, he uses many chords with added seventh. What I think is most interesting about this, since chords with added sevenths are quite extraordinary, he does not try to introduce them tenderly, but harsh. From C major to G major, we have parallels of fifth, and after that, parallels of chords with added seventh. Which makes the whole passage sounding a kind of bittersweet and very interesting by the added dust. While making a big effort to reach G major, he doesn't bother to slip back to C major with no transition. Equally introducing a new aspect to the piece. Until now, it was quite obvious what was meant to be the melody, or the main melody, and what the harmony, but right now, the other musical lines are trying to establish their own melodical idea. Played simultaneously, it sounds like this. But can you define which of the following three layers is the actual melody? We have in the upper voice, in the middle voice, and in the bass voice. I think each of these lines is worth being noticed. Obviously, it is not so clear anymore what is meant to be the main voice. Another perception leads to the idea that the whole first part is about a merging process between melody and harmony. From the very beginning, Poulenc has written continuous sixteens, but all the time they have been in the lower voice, thus connected to the accompaniment. Here it is the first time that the sixteenths are in the top voice and therefore in a line which was meant to be the melody. Finally, we reach proper C major again, but Poulenc cannot help but invent something new instead of just repeating what has been said. So far, he always has been using chords which belong to the normal scale, but here we have an F minor chord, which adds another new color to the whole piece. Eventually, we are reaching the climax of the first part of the piece and its highest pitches. Without the added notes, the cadence is actually a traditional one, frequently used by, for instance, Bach. But it has the added jazz notes and a very beautiful distribution of the melody. Of course, our ears attract our attention to the moving middle voice. But listen to the E natural, colorated in different ways by the different harmonies. But the most noticeable, in my opinion, is the very ending of the first segment. We can hear that the melody ends, but when? The top voice ends like this. But it seems like the bottom voice takes over by riding out the suspension in full. In a nutshell, the initial idea was probably the sweet melody from the beginning, but the journey to the final cadence and the merging process of melody and harmony was the work of a gifted craftsman. Every time we get used to an element, it stays interesting due to a new element. First, there's only a melody. The next step is the melody and its counter melody. Then he adds more pitches to a chord. I'm talking about the added seventh. Then we hear many equal melodies and finally completely new chords. Since I spent a long time with the first part, I just want to mark off the other two parts. Novelette, what does it actually mean? It's a mood piece, initially invented by Schumann, which refers to a novelle, a short story. And the most noticeable way to express different moods is in music the usage of major and minor. The middle section of the piece is in my opinion about searching the right mood. We are reaching both different harmonical and different mood types. We have a sad beginning in C minor with interrupted cadence to A flat major. An optimistic continuation in E-flat major, a mysterious passage in G minor, and a joyful one in G major. The last part starts with the same melody as in the very beginning, but in the middle of this part, the music seems to struggle with continuing. We have this remarkable passage, which consists of interrupted cadences. Some of them are interrupted by the parallel minor, A minor, some of them by F major, the subdominant. The latter way of interrupting a cadence is typical for, you guess it, Schubert, who used it very often. I think the connection between the latter passage, the middle part, and this one is obvious. The middle part of the section was searching for the right mood, and this one is searching for an end and turns around and cannot find one. But eventually we are reaching the main cadence and the end of the piece. With a perfect C major, I would like to end this show. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you say, I would like to look closer at a piece I am practicing right now, my aim was achieved.